All right, welcome back. It's still Breakfast Daily, and this is the news review segment. So we have seen one topic. We're getting into the next topic. BoG governor suspends gold for oil program, and we have an article on ChannelOneNews.com. We're just going to take 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs, and then we'll get straight into the story. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, has announced the suspension of the gold for oil program, citing unspecified policies and operational challenges. The initiative aimed at reducing Ghana's reliance on foreign exchange for fuel imports and stabilizing domestic fuel prices. It has been temporarily halted due to financial losses incurred during its implementation. In an interview with Bloomberg, Dr. Esiama revealed, "We have had to incur some losses on that, so we have to put some suspension on the trade." While he did not provide specific detail on the challenges, the decision largely reflects a broader reassessment of economic strategies under the new administration. And you can read the rest of it right there on ChannelOneNews.com. So let's just get straight into it. Larry, was the policy ever sustainable, the gold for oil?
Okay. Thank you. I think that's a very good question. During the start of it, I think what came up, people have asked some of these questions that, was it sustainable in light of, we don't have those huge, huge gold
reserves,
companies in town. Even the state gold company, Goldfields, before we gave it out. You get it? And so how was the state going to get a gold and then use it to trade? Okay? How was it getting the gold from? Where was it getting the gold from? Now, that explanation didn't come, except that we were rather focused on the fact that we could get gold and then use it as payment for the oil to come in. We've done it for some time. People talked about the availability of fuel. Okay, through that fuel was going to be available and it was going to come at a very cheaper cost to everybody. After some time, people started asking, how come the price of fuel
still the same or
was
going
still
higher?
The same or even higher? So every now and then the excuse that came was that, you know what? Crude oil price had gone up, and so we need to increase the price of it at the pump. And we have lived with it all this while.
Yeah.
Now, in between that, we've had comments about the inefficiency around that area, the lack of transparency around it, okay? The depletion of our gold reserve.
Yeah.
Okay, and the explanation around it hasn't, been very tidy. As usual, we had politicians coming to say that, something, it's good. It's something that had been well thought through. Calls for reviews and so on, and that open up the books. Let all of us study. Let's see what is there. How can we make it better?
So it lacks transparency.
It lacked transparency.
Okay.
But again, as with all others, we never heard anything except that the policymakers, those also implementing agencies, were all, praising it to the heavens. Like BoG, for instance, praised it to the heavens. Now we are here where it had to be, put on hold. Now, in putting it on hold, I would have expected the new governor to tell us, hey, guys, this is what we discovered.
That's why it's on hold.
Yes, we discovered that even for lack of transparency, we discovered that so and so collected so and so, but we didn't get that amount. We got less.
Right.
You get it? Under the market distortions that it's created, these are, whatever we found out. And then the depletion of gold. We had this amount of gold before we started. As we speak, this is what is left. Or there's nothing left at all. That will also, people would also appreciate that. The operational inefficiencies that have also been discovered. If all those things are explained, then Ghanaians will appreciate that, listen, hey, indeed, there were issues. those who were implementing it would be called upon to come and explain why, all these things, yet we were carrying it out. Okay? So with that, then you carry everybody along. In the absence of that, we are just, touch and move, touch and go, touch and go, touch and go. Then you notice that we are not getting to the bottom of whatever it is.
Yeah.
With that, tomorrow if there's trouble, the other guys will come at you that, when we were in office, these are the things we ensure that everything was tidy. However, when you came, you terminated it. But without giving us any explanation. But had you given any explanation, those people wouldn't have the presence of mind to even come out to say that, listen, we ensure that this was happening. It is one thing ensuring that the thing is happening. It is another ensuring that it is tidy. And it is the third leg of it that everybody is carried along.
Yeah.
Now that you've terminated this, what will be in its place? Okay, and what are we likely to run into? Governance is not just in one man's head. I keep saying. Policy, policy is supposed to carry everybody along.
Yeah. Especially for the fact that the president said that his new government is coming with accountability and transparency. So this is lack of transparency at this point on their side to not telling us what's going on.
But you see, it is not just Bank of Ghana. MIF, the Minerals Investment Fund, was also doing a similar thing with the same companies, oil marketing companies in there. So MIF was getting, in certain cases, they were giving mineral royalties to private, oil companies, okay, to go and buy gold and sell it and bring in dollar. And that dollar was used to go and buy fuel. So Bank of Ghana is on its own. MIF is also running another game on its own. And over there, the rot over there, when you touch it, people don't touch it. When you, it's an equally dirty thing altogether. And nobody is calling for an investigation in there.
Right.
Nobody is calling for an investigation in there. So beyond the gold for oil, there's also a CD for dollar. That was also, running concurrently with the same.
This,
with this.
All right. So Elvis, so now that the policy is halted, well, numbers. So that's why I want to ask you this. What other alternate strategies do you think they should, the government should consider to stabilizing, say, the fuel supplies and prices?
Well, first of all, if anybody says that the gold reserves of Bank of Ghana has been depleted, it's not true. In fact, our gold reserve has always been around 8.7 tons for so many years. It was the previous government that decided they have to increase Ghana's gold reserves. And they have virtually doubled our gold reserves as at the end of 2024. So if anybody says gold for oil had depleted our gold reserves, the person doesn't understand what gold for oil was or what the program is about. That can't be true, and that's not true. The facts are there. Secondly, see, people must understand that at the time the gold for oil was implemented, it's because there was so much pressure on our reserves, our foreign reserves. Because of the economic challenges, our foreign reserves dropped from over $8 billion to a little over $2 billion at the time. And if nothing is done, our foreign reserve would have been depleted. Because we need oil, and the central bank needs to be providing some dollars for the BDCs to be able to import crude oil into this country. Else we're going to face serious shortage of crude oil. So something needs to be done that will generate that needed foreign income that will be used to purchase crude oil. So in terms of the gold for oil, the idea is simple. If government of Ghana can buy the gold, sell it in the world market, the money that is supposed to come will be in dollars, so it wouldn't come. It goes into buying crude oil that will come into the country. So that the pressure for foreign currency in terms of the dollar will somehow be minimized. So what the central bank did was to give a directive to the mining companies in the country to sell at least 20% of all their gold to the central bank. So they had to have a complete discussion with the Chamber of Mines, with all the mining companies to agree to sell that percentage of their gold production directly to the central bank so that the central bank can then use it as the basis for the gold or for oil policy. There was a lot of resistance from the mining companies because really they believe that if they go and sell it out there, they will make more money than they sell it. But they were supposed to sell it to Ghana government through the central bank in cedis. And there was a little friction there back and forth. So even if you look at the IMF bailout, it found the space there because these gold mining companies have managed to use their influence to get to the IMF to tell the IMF to cancel the gold for oil policy. It's in the IMF bailout. Direct instruction to government of Ghana that we must stop the gold for oil policy because this mining company have gone to their government and said Ghana government is implementing a policy that is really affecting them by buying their gold in cities under a directive by force. So in fact, the IMF we are supposed to stop the gold for oil, but the government realized that no, in terms of generation of foreign forex to import dollar, the program is being really helpful because if not for that, we will not even have been able to even build our reserves from the 2.6 billion that it dropped to the 9.6 billion we are talking about now, if that pressure had not been reduced. So in terms of forex generation and the rest, it has done something. But you see, in every policy, you can't say everything is 100%. So there may be some shortfalls. And as the governor has said, and see, Dr. Sema is not saying this because he became a governor. In fact, in the campaign period, he actually granted media interviews. And he made it clear that data and information available to him shows that there are some issues with the good for oil policy. And even at that time, he called for a review. Even at that time that he wasn't governor, he called for a review of the policy because he believed that what he has studied so far about the policy, he realized that there are certain operational including transparency.
Did he explain the issues?
Yeah, he actually explained the issue of transparency at that time that, look, the central bank is in this thing. Then there are several chains of institutions also playing several roles. If you look at it critically, all the institutions playing critical are all government institutions. And therefore, when you want to exert accountability in that process, in that kind of structure, from his point of view, it will not be easy exacting accountability. And he believes that even if the policy is supposed to go on, it should be completely in the hands of a different entity. And central bank will now demand accountability. Because if you are in it, who are you demanding accountability from? So his point is that the central can back the policy, all right, but then it should be handled by an entity that can be trusted, and that when the central bank is asking for transparency as to how that institution is working, the central bank can ask for it. So he made this point in opposition even before the NDC won and he has become governor. So for me, the suspension is not a surprise. And I think the story Bloomberg published mentioned something about the central bank carrying some losses, but they didn't mention amount. So with the suspension, I believe that he suspended it with the view that when the suspension takes place, then they can have time to study what has gone well, what has gone wrong, and then whatever structure they want to restructure it and continue it. It's not a termination. They say it's a suspension so that they study the structure, how the thing is working, whether there are gains, where there are losses, and then if there are losses, how do you cut the losses to make sure that
suspension and termination, they are not being used, synonymously.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. That as for me, if there was a termination, you would have said it because I said even the IMF bailout has categorically ordered the government of Ghana to terminate the good for oil policy. It's actually ordered that be under the program we should terminate the good for oil policy. So it's already in the IMF bailout. So if they were going to...
What if we had approached it this way? That all the institutions, you didn't mention any institution, but I mentioned MIF. That MIF was running a concurrent.
No, that one is not for the good for oil, but they are doing their own thing.
But MIF is still a government agent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because you mentioned good for oil, that's what I'm saying.
So you could have the government saying that, listen, let's review all this thing. Appreciate where we are coming from. So Ministry of Finance is involved. Ministry of Energy is involved because at the end of the day, the importation of the fuel goes back.
MPA is involved, MPA is involved, GMPC is involved.
All manner of institutions are involved. Guys, let's review all these things.
So we know
let's
where we are
appreciate
going.
it. So with that document in hand, you as the new implementing agency will know what to do.
Exactly.
You get it. You as a consumer will also, when you are not getting the fuel, you know that, you know what to,
So for him, it's all about the transparency. For us to be also carried along.
The suspension is based on the transparency. And the doctors, what he said in opposition, his main focus is about How transparent is the process if all of you are government agencies and we say I'm doing this one, I'm doing this? How do you exact transparent accountability from people?
Okay, but then where we are now, is it just what do you call it? Bank of Ghana's role that has been suspended?
No, the entire code for all policy has been suspended.
The whole policy.
Because it's Bank of Ghana that's the backbone of the entire policy.
Okay.
So they are suspending the entire code for oil policy. But
Okay.
the meat one you are talking about, what I'm saying is that it's also a similar rate, but it's not related to the gold for oil policy. BOS is not part of the gold for oil policy. The MIF one, they are doing something you are saying. It's completely different from
MIF is because in there, Sledge, you know the company called Sledge,
Yes.
was giving $94 million. Okay, under a similar arrangement.
That's not a similar arrangement.
All right.
Many other gold companies, many other oil companies and gold companies
I
were
think the
giving
point you
money.
are making is that MIF seems to be doing a similar something in that direction. So if you are going to review, let's add all as a government and review.
That's what he's
in
been
totality.
saying. Let's review everything.
So that when the report comes out,
We know
maybe you can say, MIF, what you are doing, you rather stop. And then this agency will be fully responsible, and this will be the line of reporting,
Boss.
line of accountability,
Anyway.
Boss,
line
NPA,
of transparency, all this. You understand it?
Anyway, gentlemen, we actually have a message from a viewer. National Economic Dialogue, solutions, not mere talk. I want to suggest the following. 1, fix our roads and bridges. Make them first class. Examples, Accra to Kumasi Highway, Accra to Elubu, etc. And to reduce taxes and high borrowing interest rates at the bank. This will encourage private investment. 3, teach young people how to build wealth. And 4, cut down excessive government expenditures. Thank you so much for that
How
message.
about the minorities
our
comment?
time is short, so my.
1 minute or two.
No.
Talk to your producers.
Oh no! Today is different. Today is different.
Today is different.
My hands are tied. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this segment. We really appreciate you joining us on this segment, and also a very big thank you to our guests. It's always nice having you on the show.
Sure,
Larry and Elvis.
But I think David's influences.
I think so. So yeah.
Well, we'll have to set up a 3-member committee to investigate this.
Anyway, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be back with more.